The defendant was your tenant. You own a building?
That is correct.
When did she begin her tenancy?
April 19, 2012.
What kind of building is it?
It's a 9-unit apartment building.
And what was her rent?
At the time, it was $1,000 per month.
And did she have a 12-month lease?
When she moved in with a 7-month lease.
Did she renew that lease?
It turned into a month-to-month tenancy.
And when did she move out?
November 10th, 2015.
Okay. Your lawsuit is requesting unpaid rent and damages, and Miss Williams has a counterclaim for the return of her security deposit, which I assume was $1,000?
$736 in some sense, I believe.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And for which months did Miss Williams not pay rent?
She paid rent for all the months up until September 2015 when I started the unlawful detainer action.
Why did you start an action against her?
She did not pay any rent. And
in September?
In September.
So that's when you filed to evict her?
Correct.
Did she pay rent in October?
No.
And she moved out the beginning of November?
Correct.
Did you pay rent for September?
No.
Did you pay rent for October?
No, I did not.
Did you live there?
Yes.
Then you owe rent for those 2 months.
Well, in September, I fell down the stairs, and I was in the hospital when he served the papers to my son. Well, actually, they told me he taped it to the screen, and I was still in the hospital, and I did bring that with me.
I don't have to see it. Why didn't you give your son your rent?
Because I have the control over my money.
If you have control over your money, you should make arrangements to pay your rent. But you lived there until November. So if you lived there until November, when you got out of the hospital, why didn't you pay September's rent?
Because when I answered to his unlawful detainer, our lawyers made an agreement that as long as I was out by November 10th, that it would just be a wash because I fell and I needed to move. I needed to be downstairs. This wasn't the first, but it was the second time that I fell down the stairs.
How many times have you sued him?
Well, once thus far.
Suing him again?
Yes, ma'am.
How much did you collect the first time?
I believe the actual amount that was recovered was $50,000.
Okay, and you have a lawsuit pending. Your lawyer is to sue Mr. Milano again for the second fall.
Correct.
So the first time you collected $50,000.
Yes.
I assume you're suing for the same this time. Did you have more injuries this time?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you have to pay, unless you have a written agreement. He's suing for the 2 months' rent that you didn't pay. And how much was your rent in September of 2015?
$1,000.
Okay, so he's suing for $2,000. He's also suing for damages. Now, so far there's no excuse for not paying the rent, but you did have $736 in security deposit.
That is correct.
So now you have to show me what damages you claim that not only eat up that security deposit, but increase the request by $1,400.
Okay.
I have documentation.
I'd like to see photographs.
Photographs are right here. Photographs and documentation of the money. Do you want to see both?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would.
And I also have photographs and documentation that he was going to make the proper repairs to the unit.
If you don't like where you're living, you move, Miss Williams. You don't stay there and then say, I'm not paying rent. That's going into a restaurant.
That's not what I
That's
did.
going into the restaurant, eating the steak, finishing it all up, cleaning the plate, and then saying, I didn't like the steak, I'm not going to pay for it.
And I understand
In 2013, if you didn't think that he was a good landlord, then you move.